Canadian archaeologists are among a group of researchers who have discovered what they believe is the world's oldest wine. Not in Italy or France, as you might imagine, but in Georgia, the country of Georgia. One of the study's co-authors is with me here in studio. Stephen Batchuk is a senior research associate at the University of Toronto's Archaeology Centre, and I'm so pleased to meet you and to talk about this. Thank you for coming in.
Pleasure is mine.
You are getting all sorts of worldwide attention for this discovery.
Yes, we are. Wine has that effect.
It certainly does. Listen, just so you understand at home exactly what part of the world we are talking about, let's take a look at a map together. This is the South Caucasus region of Georgia, correct?
Yes.
And you were there doing excavation studying what?
Well, we've been working with the government of the Republic of Georgia, working on this larger project that they call the Research and Popularization of the Georgian Grape and Wine Culture. Georgia itself, as you said, when we think of wine, we think of France and Italy, but actually they have nothing on the Georgian culture. It's amazing. We really don't, most people don't know anything about Georgia, and it is a fascinating place.
So the roots of wine production in the ancient world, that's what you're finding there?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so as you excavated, and let's take a look at some of the images that we have of that. What did you find?
So we're excavating at two sites. They're simple Neolithic villages dated to about 6,000 to 5,000 BC. As you can see, we have small mud brick houses. Small, in this case here, it's a small storage bin filled with stone tools, bone tools, and also lots of pottery.
Okay, and in that pottery?
In some of the pottery, we actually found evidence of residue. Well, our specialist in the University of Pennsylvania was the one who actually found it. We collected the samples and we sent it to him, and of the 11 samples that we sent him from the 2016 season, 6 came back positive, and it came back from both sites, which is actually significant because it suggests that it's not just a one-off, it's actually something that's a little more widespread across the culture.
And how old was that residue?
Well, there was different dates for them, but the oldest one, we actually have a confirmed dating because we have a seed that we dated from the exact same spot, and it dates to about 5980.
5980
BC.
BC,
yes.
Which is the oldest wine?
This is the oldest
ever.
wine that has been found so far. The previous one had been in Iran at a site called Haji Firuz Tepe that had also been excavated by University of Pennsylvania, and it dated to about 5,400 to 5,000. But it was a little bit different in that they actually had a mix of grape wine and tree resin, a terebinth resin, which is used as a preservative, much like we use sulfates today in wine. Think of Greek retsina. That's where the name comes from, is that they have a resin in it.
Okay.
And we didn't actually have that. So it actually at least is suggestive that we're looking into this small little window of the development and experimentation in wine before they'd actually started to learn that little technological leap, if you will.
So right at the very, very early stages
it could be,
of winemaking more broadly.
Patrick McGovern wants to push it back a little bit further. We're going to test this all.
You're going to test. But tell me about, for you, who works in this area of research and discovery, I mean, is this like a eureka moment? You found this residue?
Well, this has been one of the goals that we were trying with the excavations.
Right.
We were trying to look at the adaptation of humans as we moved into these different regions during this pivotal period of the agricultural revolution and how we adapted to different ecozones. And we hoped that this would be one of the adaptations we'd find, because a lot of the evidence pointed to this having the region having a long antiquity of grape production, if you will. Just the sheer volume of varieties that you have in Georgia. There's 540 in Georgia, as opposed to 50 in France.
Interesting.
Which is suggestive that they had been domesticated and interbreeding for a really long period of time, which is why we kind of focused in on this area.
Could you determine what kind of grape it was?
Sadly, no. We have geneticists that are working on the project, but we haven't been able to extract any DNA.
Red or white?
Again, we can't really say for sure. Probably at this point, they really didn't make the distinction. They just put it all together.
They just put, oh, really?
Probably.
It was kind of rosé.
Exactly.
What did it look like, though? I'm curious. Like just flakes or residue?
Well, for these examples here, we didn't actually see them because we wanted to keep it pristine. That we didn't clean them. We still had the soil on top of it, and the soil acted as a baseline as well. But the other examples, specifically the one that was originally first tested, where we first developed, or Pat first developed the test for identifying wine, was from the Royal Ontario Museum here in Toronto, and it had a yellowish residue at the bottom.
I like that other Canadian connection to this.
Yes.
So I have to let you go. But basically, why is the world so interested in this? What makes this discovery so exciting, do you think?
Well, everybody loves wine. Every culture has, or at some point, partaken in drinking wine, and so it's culturally resonant. It takes part. It's part of all of us, really. And so this just really pushes back an important part of our history much further back than we had anticipated.
Almost to 6,000 BC and Canadians involved. Thanks for coming in.
You're very welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting.